Everybody, this is Hondo Carpenter, your Las Vegas Raiders beat writer on SI and the host of the Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast with my extremely extremely much better half, Shannon. We're going to talk about alleged Raider trades today. Alleged, the NFL draft, and so much more as we dig into many of your email questions. And she's going to join me and read them because we got such a great response to the last time she was on when we were in Cabo when you read some emails. What are you laughing at?
That was hilarious. I'm sorry. I still find it funny.
Can you be serious here?
Okay.
Anyways, you guys responded so well to her being on reading your questions that we decided to have her on and do some more. So Shannon, fire away. Let's go.
Okay. The first one is from Joe Milton.
What? No, that Joel Milton, that's not his name.
Oh, I see now. I'm sorry.
Joe Milton is a quarterback. You should know that because of our dinner we had with an NFL executive where he was part of the topic. Go ahead.
Afterwards, I heard a report the Raiders had made an offer on him. Is this something you can confirm or talk about? If not, maybe after the draft, you could get into the Raiders' thought process on finding a future quarterback. I understand you may not want to say too much prior to the draft. Dennis M.
Well, first of all, Dennis, I can tell you the Raiders did not make an offer. And Shannon, you were part of that phone call when I found out that they had not made an offer. And so I guess I could have let you answer that.
I'm a part of every phone call because you're always on the phone.
All right. So yes, but Shannon was actually part of that phone call when we were told no, there was no offer made. So there was not an offer made. And I'm going to tell you that as far as can I get into the process of them looking for a quarterback? Yeah, I've gotten into a lot on the process of them getting a quarterback. I mean, they certainly want to find their long-term quarterback. I think that everybody feels good that Gino is a guy that you can get 2 or 3 years out of, potentially even more. Um, but yeah, they would love to find a long-term answer at quarterback for sure. Okay.
All right. Hondo, my question to you is how high of a priority is the cornerback position is for the Raiders in the draft? Do you think our nickel corner is currently on the roster or do we draft one? Even with the addition of Eric Stokes and the subtraction of Jack Jones, it still feels like we could use more talent there. The
Mhm.
youngsters have shown flashes of brilliance, but consistency is an issue. Thank you for all you do, Colby V from Culp Creek, Oregon.
First of all, I would Colby a little bit disagree when you talk about the youngsters. I think Jacorian Bennett before the injury last year was tremendous. I thought he was excellent. But I get your point. I get where you're going with that. I think there's a lot of young talent there, but I agree. I think they need at least one corner. Corner is the one position in this draft, that and lineman, that I would be stunned if the Raiders don't pick. I think that there are scenarios in which Will Johnson would be a Raider, for sure. And I think there's other scenarios. I've been talking about Abdullah, not Abdullah. Muhammad. Muhammad is a guy out of Oregon that they really like. But yes, I think it is a very important piece. I don't know that there's any piece. I don't know that they have it in order of pieces of importance. I think they're looking for BPA, best player available. But I would absolutely tell you that it's a high importance. And again, I could see them going Will Johnson one, or even addressing it down in round five and for sure, and then even picking up a second one in 6 or 7. So there you go.
All right. Next, Hondo, my name is Kenny McDowell from Flatwoods, Kentucky. I really enjoy your podcast. I watch them every day. You are such a good person, and I love listening to you talking Raider football. Do you think the Raiders will be giving Colton Miller and Jacoby Myers contract extensions before the end of the season? I think both guys are important to keep. Thank you for all you do and keep up the good work.
And what was his name?
Kenny McDowell.
All right. Well, first of all, I have spent a ton of time in Kentucky. I love Kentucky, one of the most beautiful states in all of the Union. Love Kentucky. So good to hear from our folks in Kentucky. Thank you for joining me. There's some good hunting down there. We enjoy going down there. My brother lived in Kentucky for several years, so been down there a lot, did a lot of hunting. So good to hear from you. Um, Read the first part again. I want to make sure I heard his question specifically correct, but just read that real quick, Shannon.
Do you think the Raiders will be giving Colton Miller and Jacoby Myers
Yeah.
contract extensions
Okay.
before the end of the season?
Before the end of the season, I think absolutely there is that chance. Um, absolutely. Um, for reasons I'll get into later. Well, I'll get into some of them right now. I'll get into one of them now. I'll get into the rest later. And neither of them are character. Both men are high character and very solid, good players. But John Spytek talked about this at the owners' meetings about wanting to get to know people. I think, there is a process before you make long-term commitments to people is getting to know them. And I think that there's going to be an element where on Jacoby and Colton, that the Raiders are going to get to know them. I think that both of them could. Absolutely. I think both of them are good fits, but I think there just has to be a chance for to build some relationship and look at the entire direction of where um, this team is headed. I know they could have traded. Now, John Spytek wasn't here, but they had multiple teams interested in Jacoby Myers last year, and all he did was go and ball out. So I think both players um, will benefit from good seasons, and I could absolutely see them both getting deals. Not predicting it, but I could see it. And when this resolves with both men, if you remember to email me back, I'll be glad to give you more detail.
All right. I did a little research on top 10 quarterback stats against Geno's for the last 3 years. And after comparing them, I have two questions. Number one, he's not far away from their top tier quarterback. Do you
All
agree?
right, let's stop there because I don't want to forget a question and not answer it. I had that happen a couple weeks ago. I answered one guy's question, but I missed his second, and he's like, okay." So let's stop there. I don't think Gino is a top tier quarterback, but I do think he's a top 15. So yes, I think his stats are close, and I think with the better Raider offensive line with a running game, that he is going to have significantly better stats this year. So I think it's fair to say he's not a top tier quarterback, but I also think it's fair to say it's not like it is a massive drop off. Do I think there's a drop off? I do, but not massive.
Okay.
And his second question?
All of the new players in their introductory press conference, they say they are going to be the best. They will have incredible work ethic. Do you believe Gino? This
I
is from Mike C, by the way.
Hi, Mike C. I absolutely believe Gino, and let me tell you why. His track record proves it. So let me give you an example. I can tell you that this sorry, I'm not used to having somebody. I'm used to having somebody on the other camera, not next to me. This lady right here has over our entire marriage proven to me to be loyal, faithful, incredible. She's an amazing mother. She's a great daughter, a great sister. She's a wonderful best friend, a wife. I mean, there's nothing about Shannon I don't love and adore. She has a track record. So if you were to say to me, do you think Shannon's going to be that good of a wife next year? I would say, of course. Well, what makes you think that? Because I know the track record of the wife that she's been. Gino's track record is no one's ever questioned his work ethic, his ability to grasp and maintain knowledge. And as great as he is athletically and everything else, I've said this multiple times. Geno Smith is underrated for his football intelligence. He is a smart football player. So I think you have every right. Now, not everybody that says it, do you believe it? Because their track record hasn't panned out and shown it. But Geno's has. I don't know if you're excited about me comparing you to a quarterback, but Geno Smith it has a track record like Shannon does, so I think you can believe that. I'm sorry.
That's funny. All right, Hando, every year as rosters churn, you frequently see players go to division rivals. In the most recent case, Gardner went to the Chiefs. A few back, we lost Stidham to Denver. Still think we should have kept him. My question is this: we know that offenses and defenses will evolve, as will strategy, but there has been a lot of player specific tendencies, etc., that get shared with the rival. How much of that info is actually relevant? I'm presuming that the coaches and staff already know the opposing rosters, but is there actually tangible and relevant things that the rival gains from signing those players? Mike M. in Vegas.
Okay, at this point, absolutely not. And let me explain why, Mike. The entire Raider offensive scheme is going to change. Now, the defensive scheme isn't going to change that much, but the teams already know that because they have film on Patrick Graham and on the team. Now, I know of teams, I'm not going to tell you names, but I know one team that will constantly try to pick up guys who've been cut, who were on the team during training camp and even during the season, and they get cut. So if you're sitting there in October about to play the Chiefs and you sign a guy that the Chiefs cut the end of September. So he kind of knows their game plan. He kind of knows their strategy. That's big. But at this point, when you're overhauling the Raiders, that makes no difference. But where it does is this. I know a wide receiver once that got cut in almost a similar situation. New coach comes in, cleans house, he goes to a rival. Well, the week that they're playing that rival, he mentions to their tight end how a particular linebacker has a weakness covering tight ends. And that team exploited that. I think that tight end caught like 9 balls and hadn't caught anything like that all year because they kept exploiting that weakness. He could name some personnel weaknesses, but not really anything strategically because all of that's going to change.
That was a really good question.
That's a good one.
Uncle Hando, do you think Zeus will regain his form under the new regime? After all, when AP took over, he looked legit. Also, what do you think of Dylan Laub and his chances under the new regime? I really like them both and hope they progress. Raider Nation for life, your friends from Wales, Lear and Natalie.
They're the ones, Shannon.
I love it.
Let me look real quick. It's around here that gave Dexter the dragon.
Oh, where? Yeah.
It's right up there. Grab it. Let me show everybody.
Okay.
Grab that, would you, sweetheart? So these wonderful folks, we met in Lot J, and they brought this to my son. It hangs in my office. It's a Scottish dragon. I think it's Scottish. I guess Wales,
Wales. Yeah.
because they're from Wales.
That's really cool.
Anyways, that yeah, we keep that. We're not letting Dexter play with it because it's glass, but yeah. So I appreciate. It was nice to meet them. They were wonderful people, weren't they?
Hmm.
Yeah, they were great people. Um. So one more time, the question.
Sorry. Do you think Zeus will
Oh yeah, yeah,
regain
yeah,
his?
yeah. Okay. I think I'm a Zeus guy. I know you love Zeus too. Shannon always says, "I just want to pinch his cheeks. He just looks like the cutest little," and because he does look like a little kid,
Little
only
kid.
a kid made out of granite. But we love him. Um, but I think I think he's a really, really good player, and I think last year was devastating to him. That is where coaching malfeasance, in my opinion. So yeah, I think he has a really, really good shot. I don't. I, I want to see how they're going to alter the scheme, and then I'll know if his playing style is going to fit it. But you know their style is to alter the scheme to the player. Let's see how they draft. But yeah, I think he's got a chance at really having a good year. And I know that you and I love him. He's a wonderful. Shannon said it best one time when you said he's just a pleasant person, and he really is. He's an absolute and we share the love of horses. So
There is that.
how do you not love folks that enjoy riding horses.
Exactly.
He just put a picture out. I think it was on Instagram of him riding out on his. Oh man, his horse was beautiful. I'll show it to you when we're done. So yeah, we love Zeus, and I think he's got a chance. He has the work ethic, and he's a great kid, and he's going to work hard. So I do think he has a shot. I want to wait and see it because if they go draft like my last draft where they got O'Marion Hampton and they have to change the scheme to fit O'Marion because he's one, it may not fit. We're just going to have to wait and see. But I think that's a good question. I certainly don't think in any way his career is done at all. And if I'm a team, and I know there are some teams watching, because I think there would absolutely be some interest in him trade market wise if he didn't fit.
Same question on Dylan.
Dylan Labe, what do you call him?
Loud.
Lob.
I don't know this.
You know
I
my mother's going to go crazy. That's her. If you don't, that is my mother's favorite player. That he made my mother a Raider fan. Now, I got to remember, my mom is from Providence, Rhode Island, so she's a lifelong Patriot fan. Oh, Raider Nation's going to hate that.
I don't. It is what it is.
I know, and I mean, she's an old lady, so let's give her a little break.
Yeah, she is.
But when they pick Dylan Labe, and Dylan and I have talked about it here on the broadcast, but
He needs to drop the E. He's in America. Loud sounds better.
no, it's Labe. I like it. But anyway, she was all excited because he's from New England. And so I told Dylan, I when I've interviewed him on this thing, I said, my mom has his jersey and my mom loves him. It's her favorite player. So mom is going to be like, a Dylan question. Okay. I think Dylan is a unique player. He's small. Um, his first chance he got to play, he fumbled, and that was brutal. I think he can play in this league. I think he's going to be a role player in this league. And I don't know. You got Sincere McCormick, you got Zeus. I think they're going to draft a guy, and I think he's going to have to make a very quick impression. I think he can, but there's going to be a lot of competition, and I'm rooting for him, and not because I'm not just rooting for him because of my mom. You know that I'm rooting for him because we really like him as a wonderful person. I want him to do well. But I think he can absolutely play in this league. But it was such a jump from New Hampshire to the NFL. I mean, it's like going from being a line cook at McDonald's to the head chef at Ruth Chris. I mean, it's just
Big.
it's that big of a gap, and it's a learning curve. And if he has mastered the learning curve going into year two, I think he has a good shot because he'll play everything. I mean, you guys know this. A couple weeks ago, Shannon and I were out to dinner with an NFL executive and his wife, and I mean, well, what were we talking about? Is guys, everyone thinks when guys get in the league, they've arrived. And it's really understanding you haven't arrived. It's just begun.
Right.
It's kind of like thinking when you have a baby, okay, parenthood's over.
Just begun.
It's just begun. And there's a
And
lot
you
of,
have a lot to learn.
I mean,
A
we're
lot of
sitting,
growing to
we're
do.
sitting here with our eighth child in Dexter
And we're old and
and
we're
we're
still
still
learning.
learning. But
That's so funny.
come,
And this morning, obey. I was
no,
like, oh, we must tell him to obey. All right. Hello, hope all is well. You keep mentioning bad drafting teams, but you never bring up the Raiders. Are you then implying that the Raiders are not a bad drafting team? Since you've been covering the Raiders, would you say they are a good drafting team? I think if we asked other organizations about what they think about the Raiders' recent drafts, I don't think that they would be positive. Thanks, Ryan C.
very good question, Ryan. And I'll just say this to you. That's Shane calling. Um, I'll just say this to you. Prior to Dave Ziegler getting here, the Raiders were a very, very bad drafting team. That's just the reality. They were known to draft for need. They were known to draft for um, something was bright and shiny. Damon Arnett. I would say to you that over half of the NFL teams didn't even have Damon Arnett on their draft board, meaning if he was there in the seventh round or a UDFA, they were not going to take him because of off the field concerns, which I've shared about since the draft. And the Raiders fell in love with his physical stuff and picked him early. It was a beyond dumb pick. Okay. But since Dave Ziegler got here, the Raiders have been a very good drafting team. They've had two back to back tremendous drafts, tremendous drafts. And you guys know I was a Spy Tech guy before Spy Tech even got here. I talked about the fact before he got here that I thought he would have been a great option last year. I thought he would have been a great option before if they had gone with a GM before they did a coach like they did with Ziegler and McDaniels. John is such a smart drafter and he's such a smart person. I think that only continues. So I would say prior to Ziegler, they were considered among the worst drafting teams in the NFL. That's not the case anymore. And I think that's a big reason for Raiders. The Raiders have been really fortunate. If I would have told you had three GMs in a row, you would assume it was a bad drafting team. Would you not agree with that, Shannon?
Correct.
And then, but the fact that they've had three solid GM drafters, really, they've been fortunate. So that tells you the problem hasn't been the GM.
Right.
All right, next one.
Hondo, you once intimated last season Luke Getzey and Antonio Pierce said some things publicly that really ticked off the team that they perceived as disrespect of Max Crosby. You mentioned at the time you wouldn't get into that, but now that both men are gone, can you please? Anna R. in Bedford.
Ooh, look at it. They're not here. Oh, yeah.
No, and it's not like you.
All right. So I'm going to tell you one. I was sitting next to Zeke Trezevant, our guy. We love Zeke, don't we?
He's so awesome.
We love him.
Zeke's amazing.
Zeke is such a great writer, and we're so glad he's part of our on SI team covering the Raiders. Love you, Zeke. Um, I'm sitting next to Zeke in the press conference because we sit in the front row next to each other. And Luke Getzey, it's the week they played the Cleveland Browns. You may remember I texted you about this. And then you were in the car on speakerphone when I was discussing with a Raider player about it. And you're like, "Ooh, he is furious." Um, Luke Getzey's talking about Myles Garrett. He says, "Oh, he's the best defender in the NFL." And I looked at Zeke and Zeke looked at me and I texted Shannon. I'm like, "Oh my God, I cannot believe what Luke Getzey just said." And she's like, "What?" And I said, "He just called the Cleveland Brown player the best defensive player in the NFL." And you said, "Not Max, his own player." And so I don't think it bothered Max as much, or if Max did, Max
He didn't say it.
didn't say it. But all of a sudden, about I'm going to guess an hour and a half, 2 hours later after practice, we're in the locker room, and I one of the players said to me, "Did Getzey really effing just say that Myles Garrett's better than Max Crosby?" And I'm like, "Well, he didn't mention Max. He just said
He just kind of alluded to it.
was the best." And he went off. So you may remember later that day we're in the car when we got the phone call. We were in the parking lot at PetSmart or somewhere looking for the tuxedo.
Oh, yes, yes. I forgot about that phone call.
And is it fair to say that that player was
A little,
a little?
yeah, well,
Because at one point he goes, "I'm sorry for my language, Miss Shannon. I'm just a little upset." So yeah, they were livid about Getzey's comment. Livid about Getzey's comment. And they thought it was just complete disrespect. And quite frankly,
disrespect, yeah.
I thought it was too. Because
Well, of course it was.
listen,
It should have never been said.
I think
There's
Myles Garrett is a really good player. So if you want to say he's among the best, but he ain't Max Crosby.
agree.
And I mean, listen, you and I both adore Dexter.
Mm-hmm.
But if we go to somebody's house and they have a 2-year-old child, we're like, "Oh, this is the best 2-year-old baby boy in the world." Now, first of all, it wouldn't be true.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, can you imagine doing that in front of
No,
Dexter?
it'd be horrible. It's utter
It
disrespect.
was utter disrespect. And that's just another example of, my opinion, Luke Getzey not being able to read the room. And then,
Or be quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, yeah, that's a good point too. She knows things. All right. So, yes,
Said that nicely too.
yeah, you did. I'm going to get phone calls from one particular player on that one. Anyways, so yeah, that, that really, at that point, Luke Getzey was already questionable to a lot of people. And after that, it, yeah, we'll just say that caused some problems. All right, let's go to the next one.
All right. Warning, not a football question.
Well,
Okay.
wait, what?
It says, the email says, warning, not a football question. So this let me say something before you say something.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. There's a lot of you on here that read or listen, I'm sorry, and send us emails that say you don't like that they're not all football questions and that my husband talks about things that are not always all football. So this is your warning. You can get off now and stop listening. If you continue to listen, don't send an email because we don't want to hear about your complaining.
And we don't read it, but our
No,
staff does. It's not fair to them.
no, it's not. But you know what? There's other things about life other than football.
Oh,
Did I just say that out loud?
well, sure. Here we go.
Okay. Uncle Hondo and Aunt Shannon, you have been promoted to your status. I feel pretty blessed. Okay. In our family, we were raised to love Jesus, America, and the Raiders by our great dad. Good dad. I have four brothers, and each of us learned about your podcast from our dad, who loved you, who you love, your love of Jesus and the country, and the stories you told of your father, as he did with us. All of us boys are married except our third brother, who is engaged and getting married this September. We have a tradition in our family that our dad would deliver an epic, funny, and serious toast at the reception to kick it off and bless the marriage with a prayer. Dealing with my dad's death has been hard on all of us. But for my brother, he commented at dinner on Wednesday that not having dad to do the toast was really sad. I can imagine that was. I spoke with my other brothers, us old married guys, and we thought about you. Oh, wow, Hondo. We would pay your ticket and hotel, but we all love you and would love to have you come and say the epic speech and blessing for our brother. We all love you, and almost every day we talk after your pod about things your dad would say. We don't have a ton of money, but this would make a part of dad be there for my brother. If you can't, I would understand. But even if we need to pay a speaking fee, we could maybe do it. Would you please consider? Name withheld. That's an honor.
What an honor.
That brings tears to my eyes.
Yeah, that just,
Wow. We know the importance of dad.
yeah. First of all, I want you to know my heart goes out to you because I lost my dad, and and people don't understand when the Bible says that we don't grieve like those that have no hope. For those of us that are Christ followers and have put our faith in Christ, we understand we get to see our dads again. But
Mhm.
it's, boy, I always tell people I don't hurt for him. I hurt for me
Right.
because he's not hurting.
Exactly.
No way. And thank God you were raised by such a great dad like I was. And so let me just say this. We would be honored, but I'm not letting you buy my ticket. I'm not going to make you pay me a speaking fee. Um, and I know we have the date and I have to wait a couple weeks because I have to look at the schedule release, but it would be my honor to come, and you're not paying anything. I'll pay my own way, but we would love to be there and to honor your father and honor your brother. I am sure that I will not have words like your dad and all of that, but I will do my best. But it would be an honor. And thank you and that's very humbling that you would even remotely consider us to be part of it. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. And absolutely, if there's any way we can make it work, I will make it work and be there. And what a beautiful, beautiful. Oh, you're crying.
That's amazing. That's just amazing.
Don't we just literally have the best listeners in the
Hmm.
world?
We do.
I feel bad. I mean, I understand that this is a football podcast and these are Raider fans, so we're gathering, but I feel bad for people that get mad and they say, don't ever do the emails because this is family.
Exactly.
It's why you're a Raider.
And Raider fans are, yeah, and Raider fans are family. And that's how he grew up. And I think it's pretty amazing.
I mean, let me just say this about Raider Nation. So, I mean, we literally have friends that are owners, friends that are ton of friends that are executives, coaches, players.
Hmm.
I mean, we're out to dinner at a casino one night, and one of our friends, who's a starting offensive lineman on an NFL team, uh, was with us. And remember, he just about crushed me. And never mind, we'll get into all that later. But we have so many friends at every team. So for you, you were never really a fan of a team. I guess you kind of like the Lions because you're a Michigander, but it wasn't like you were ever. I never saw you in
Mm-mm.
Lions gear, and you were a Michigan State girl
Always.
always. Go green,
Go away.
go white. But Raider Nation won your heart.
Hmm.
If it, I'm just telling you, you hang around with Raider players, coaches, executives, fans.
Hmm. Well, they treat you always like it doesn't matter if it's the first time they met you, you're their best friend.
We
They're
got in.
family. They're offering you food, drinks, you name it, hugs, handshakes. Everybody's laughing and smiling. It's one big happy family at a huge party. How can you not be a part of that?
I told people Raider Nation sucked you in,
Hmm.
and like now you're a Raider. I mean, the other day we got an email from a listener that wanted to ask Shannon if Hondo were to ever go cover another team, would you still be a Raider fan? And she's tell him what you said
Well, I said, do you really think if my husband was offered the Chiefs that I would ever root for them? No.
or
And
any team,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I have
But
been.
and can I say it?
Yeah.
I'll never be never.
Anyways,
Raiders
I had no idea
for life.
I had no idea you were going to say that, but no, no, and I think that's what makes Raider Nation special.
Oh, I love it.
And
Win or lose, baby. They're still family.
for me, it would be completely unprofessional to be a fan of a team. You cannot. It's just like doctor. I mean, we have how many friends do we have that are doctors that don't do doctor stuff on their family?
Right, right.
If you're going to be a fan of a pro football team, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Just don't cover them
Hmm.
because I don't think you can be fair. But I mean, Dexter, what's his favorite shirt?
His Raiders shirt.
His Raider hoodie,
Hmm.
and they love it. And that it's a testament to Raider fans. Why? It's just like Lear and his beautiful wife giving Dexter this. They gave him a soccer jersey and they gave him this, and it sits right in my office, literally right in my office. And it we don't love them because of gifts, but I mean,
Right.
they didn't have to do that.
Hmm.
And so it's just awesome. So yes, I would absolutely love to be there. Thank you for the invite. That is extremely gracious and kind of you. And we'll be praying for your family. And remember, we don't grieve like the world, not in the least bit. And I'm going to send you and your three brothers each a book. Guess what?
Mm,
You know what book that's going to be. Huh. Can you think?
I think.
Tell them.
Wild at Heart.
Wild at Heart. Is that not the best book in the
It's a
world?
great book.
Do you not agree that everybody, I mean, when I gave it to you, did it not help you understand your dad, me, our sons,
Hmm.
and men in general? Did it?
Hmm. Absolutely.
So
It's a good book for men and women.
to understand how God made men.
Hmm.
Phenomenal book, Wild at Heart. Go
Absolutely.
get it. But I'm going to send you and your three brothers each a copy as a gift from Shannon and I. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Appreciate you. There was a lot of Raider talk, but we warned you that last part wasn't. Although
We
that
did.
was Raider. We
Yeah,
we
there's
we
toilet Raider
we
stuff in it.
praised
We
the Raider
praised them.
Nation. All
That's
right.
right.
God bless you all.